week 8 is done. Michigan is sitting at 4-3. I'm asking this question because Michigan is the reigning national champions, which I love to say, but it's getting harder to say. But it seems once
it's
again,
not.
It is.
But you know what Coach K used to say in basketball: you're the champion for that year, and the next year it all starts over for everybody. So I kind of cringe when I hear people say we're the reigning national champions, and plus now with the way things have turned out, I say turn the page.
Turn the page. Well, okay. We will turn the page after this. It seems once again Michigan is all in the past. The transition from Harbaugh to Moore looks more like Lloyd Carr to Rich Rod rather than Schembechler to Mueller, which is what I was hoping for. Michigan is unranked for the first time since the beginning of the 21 season. And I got to, okay, so this is the quote. I got to get my glasses on because I'm old. So, Phil Steele, you guys are familiar with this magazine, right? You know this one. Yep. Phil Steele, in Phil's forecast, said, he's talking about Michigan here, they remain one of the best teams in the country and could still get back to the playoffs.
No, he was wrong.
He was wrong.
That wasn't even close.
By a lot, he was wrong.
So here's the question. At this point, can Michigan even make 6-6? They've got 5 games left. They have to win at least 2. 3 of those games are against ranked teams. So the only highlight of this season, I think, is that Michigan probably has the toughest schedule of anybody else in the Big Ten. Not that it's going to matter at the end of the season, but can Michigan even make 6-6 this year? Discuss.
So I'm going to weigh in. So when they face Oregon and Ohio State, mainly passing teams, currently Michigan has the 94th ranked passing team in the nation. I mean, the passing defense in the nation. So it all depends on, their defensive line. But again, we have that same narrative, the same thing I've seen in the last 2 games. Their defense keeps it close to the game. Their offense cannot produce substantial drives. By the way, they have the 119th ranked offense in the country. I don't know what else to say. So they're going to get tired. Their defensive line's going to get tired, not be able to produce that rushing attack, and it's just going to be a complete air raid. So I don't even know if they're going to beat Michigan State, but I'm going to automatically count an L against Oregon. We'll see how Indiana's QB heals if he's able to go in a couple weeks or so by the time they play Michigan. And honestly, I don't like making predictions for the Ohio State game. Anything can happen in that game. It's the game, a big rivalry, so I'm not going to call my shot on that yet.
Seriously?
Yeah, definitely. I never do. I don't like doing it. It's a big game. Again, anything can happen. All right. Whoever thought that the Tigers would make the playoffs? I mean, they went 13-11 that final stretch, and they end up doing it. Anything can happen, you guys.
There's some wisdom in that. I am the counterbalance to him on the channel. I like to shoot my shot and see what happens. Come for the
Ride
smoke
or die, man.
And hide and catch some shrapnel afterwards. But no, I mean, living where I live in the belly of the beast. Well, one, it's maybe really probably more talkative than I should be, and rocking more stuff. I mean, Ohio State lost to Oregon. The next day I show up to church in the most obnoxious Ohio State hoodie I could find. I said, I'm going to wear this stuff even harder. Every day this week.
I love it.
Well, guys, yeah, I think,
Go ahead.
yeah, there are probably, as a Michigan fan, there are probably 3 more losses there. And I know the quarterback discussion has been beat to death, but I think part of what's happened to us is the ineptitude by the offensive coaching staff. And I think with the talent that we have, I don't think our offensive coaching staff has done those kids the best the best justice that they could. I'll just say this, and I'll let someone else speak. One of the things that stood out to me on Saturday's game was Donovan Edwards started the game versus Khalil Mullings, and Khalil Mullings has been our MVP this season. So I'm thinking, okay, Donovan's fumbled the ball. Okay, he went on to fumble the ball again. Khalil Mullings is the more physical running back. He's willed us to victory thus far. Why is he not on this first series? So, I don't have faith in the offensive coaching staff right now.
I mean, to build on that, why is Jack Tuttle throwing the ball 32 times? I mean, we had talked about this earlier. Dad and I had talked about this earlier while we were recording our Voice of College Football video. Jack Tuttle threw the ball 32 times. Okay, he had the interception. He actually only had 10 pass attempts in the first half, which means that he had a 60% pass completion percentage in the first half with an interception, even though it got called back, and a fumble. And the coaching staff going into the second half was like, yeah, let's do that again, only more. What? Why does he get 32 pass attempts and Mullings isn't even RB1 anymore? What is this decision making? And the game was only 2 scores at that point. So even if Michigan had gone back to just simply running the football, like the game was well within reach. They honestly probably would have won if they had just told Khalil Mullings, here's the ball, be a wrecking ball and get to the end zone. I don't understand what the second half adjustments were there. I don't understand how you can look at something like, as a guy who works with data every single day, if I saw a data point and it said, hey, don't do this, with all of the red flashing lights that the Michigan coaching staff should have gotten from that first half, I wouldn't look at that data point and be like, nah, I'm going to double down on it. What? That's just my point.
You said that that was very eloquent. That was eloquently said.
Thank you.
I just like how you just said they would win. They would have won. I like how you threw that in there. Had they done that,
I think they would have. Yeah, if they had just run the ball with Khalil Mullings, I think they would have won.
Really?
And
Yes.
Okay.
Anwar was about to say that I was right. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the game was there. It was there for the taking. And an Illinois fan took me on in my comment section and said, you said you guys lost the game. We won the game, but and we outgained. Now maybe some of those yards were deceptive. Maybe a lot of them came in the second half. But I was surprised when I did my post game show to see that we had actually outgained Illinois. So it's like, what you turn the ball over, you don't score in the red zone, you piss the game away.
Anwar, you know what, Anwar? I'll tell you what that game reminds me of.
What's that?
It reminds me of the game against Penn State that you guys had last year. Now, a lot of Michigan fans like to bloviate about that game, like you guys ran all through them. Check the stats, you guys didn't. In the second half, you guys punted the ball mostly. But you guys basically shut down the offense. I thought Illinois didn't play their A game. I thought they kind of shut it down because they knew you guys couldn't score, and you guys knew Penn State couldn't score. I think that's all that happened. There isn't a soul in the Big Ten that is scared of your guys' offense. And I think it's easy to say. Actually, you know what, Phil, did you see my message to you on X?
Who? Did you say Phil?
Cliff. Sorry, Cliff.
It's funny. That's not the first time I've been called Phil. I don't know why.
I just messaged you on X. Could you do me a favor, please, and look at that?
All right.
I wouldn't do it. It sounds like a trap.
And I want to just play for the guys.
Oh no.
You've got here. Okay, I broke down the facts about the Michigan offense months in advance after the Fresno State game. That one.
Yes. It's gold, everybody. I promise you.
He's just doing this so that he can prove that he was right. Like that's all that is. Yeah.
And I have said over the last 3 years, you won the Joe Moore Award 2 years in a row. Last year's offensive line, we had said even last year during the season, it was not up to par as to what the two prior offensive lines were. And I have said plenty of times on this show, I don't know if you guys are going to have the best offensive line in the nation. I don't know if you're going to have the best line in the Big Ten. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State's offensive line was just as good. And I said that Sharon Moore is a great offensive line coach, and I call him the best offensive line coach in the nation. But I've heard a lot of Michigan fans say, well, this is Sharon. We have Sharon Moore. He's going to get it right. Ryan Day is a quarterback guru. Last year, he didn't get it right. The run game struggled. They couldn't push anyone off the ball. Now let's get to the running backs. I have said that I think Khalil Mullins should be RB1 for a long time. I said that Donovan Edwards can't possibly play worse than he did last year. I lied, seemingly. What all you guys kept telling me about what he was going to be, Steve Deese and other Michigan fans saying that they think that he's going to be at the Heisman ceremony, stop it. He is not that guy. Your wide receivers, they had 7 targets for 19 yards. We'll leave it there. I've been saying all this, laying out the groundwork, laying out the facts, and laying out the scenarios. This is not a good quarterback situation.
All right, I have one correction.
That was after the Fresno game.
It's Steve Dace, not Steve
Dace.
Deese.
Mr. Panic.
I just
I was watching him during the game on X. I was like, this guy. No,
This
like,
guy,
but
yeah.
Donovan, that's a good point. Donovan's good when he has these nice gaping holes and where he can take off running.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that against you guys 2 years ago, and then we saw that in the Washington game. But if you hit him at that line of scrimmage and you surround him, you know he's not gonna do much. He'll fumble the ball.
Yes.
He only has 2 yards a carry and I think 1.5 after contact.
Do you think that's just because he's small?
he's not small.
I didn't think he was that small.
He has
Yeah.
a small lower body.
Well,
But-
you guys were talking all off season about how he put in all this weight and he's bigger, faster, stronger. And what?
Oh,
what
hold
do we
up.
see?
Okay,
said
you
it.
say these
You said it.
guys.
You people.
Okay, you people. Like, who are you talking? You people. I didn't say anything. I just said other people are saying he did this.
When I brought up that when I was watching the TCU game and Edwards was the main back, I just said this dude is not meant to be an every down back. There's no denying he's talented. He's quick. He's going to be in the pros. He's going to make his money as a third down back in the pros. But in terms of the every down back, it's not going to happen. And, during the offseason when I brought this up, I heard, well, he's putting all this weight. He's looking a lot better. But he's literally, if not, I think he's worse than last season. Last season wasn't like that great other than, the Washington game.
No, last season was bad.
Last season
bad.
he didn't even have a good season. Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's just like I think that Michigan fans, we tend to get blinded by, these shiny things. And the shiny thing was that he scored 2 touchdowns in the national championship game. And it was just like, there's a lot of momentum going to next season. He's going to be great. I was hearing things such as we're going to have the best running back room in the country. No one's going to be able to stop Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullins. So
yeah, okay. And when Quinshon Judkins committed to Ohio State, what did we hear from every Ohio State fan?
And you know what? But
We heard the exact same freaking thing.
That's coming to
Wait.
That's come to fruition though. How they're doing.
Hey, wait. We're not gonna compare.
Yeah, I don't think that's
like
fair
Quinshon
No,
Judkins.
I'm saying no. You're right. Quinshon Judkins is better than Donovan Edwards. That's not the point. The point is that when a piece of news happens or the shiny object moment happens, every fan base is going to be like, "Oh heck yeah!" Nebraska with Dylan Raiola, Ohio State with Quinshon Judkins, Michigan when Donovan Edwards decided to be good against Ohio State and crappy against everyone else. That's just what happens. So then you start saying like, yeah, all of a sudden. What? Go ahead.
No, I just don't know like if that's a direct I don't know if that comparison works. Like I think that's a disingenuous comparison potentially. But finish. I'm gonna let you finish just to see get your final point out.
I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, and I'm gonna tear you to shreds as soon as you're done. So,
I just want to make sure
my point is that okay, so I'm not making any qualms about the fact that Donovan Edwards is not as good as Quinshon Judkins. What I'm making qualms with is like, yeah, of course we got excited about Donovan Edwards. Mm-hmm. He looked good during the national title game. He looked good against Ohio State in 2022. He has had flashes. And then all over the offseason, all we heard was, yeah, he's making a commitment towards being more consistent. the Blake Corum type back. And so, yeah, we're going to take what
fair.
we've seen, the flashes that we've seen, and add on top of that the development that we're being told that he's making in the offseason. And then the result of that would be, okay, we're expecting him to become this every down back. And that hasn't panned out. Now, we as fans can look at that and say, well, shoot, that sucks. We were really excited about this. But that's all we can say. We can't go into the practices and understand what's going on. I mean, to me, actually, Garrison, I'm going to give you a little bit of credit here. You said that we were lied to, Michigan fans were lied to by the coaching staff over the offseason. I'm kind of starting to think you're right, because I don't know how you can look at this O-line, the quarterback room, and the running back room right now, except for Clell Mullings, and say that this team is any good.
But that's why I was thinking about that when Garrison said that, we were lied to, because looking at that Phil Steele comment, I mean, that guy, he's studied stats. What is this? He says he's been like 90% accurate over 40 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So this guy knows what he's talking about. And even he thought Michigan was going to be a playoff level team.
That's true.
So that's why it just blows my mind as to what happened. That's why, we talked about, is it just malpractice on the coach's part? I mean, we didn't have a lot of data on the coaches. Maybe that's where, maybe it really does fall apart. They're just bad coaches.
I thought it was all like, I didn't think it had anything to do with that. For me, I thought my whole reasoning was all just, for me, common sense. I didn't think you guys had talented elite receivers that are like athletic freaks. I think they're fine. I think your O-line was two guys on there have never started. One guy has gotten in here and there. Hinton got benched last year. Now he's coming back. He was playing good this year though. But in my mind, I'm just like, okay, it's gonna take time to gel, and I don't know what it's gonna look like. The quarterbacks,
Well, guys, I think a couple things. I remember when Harbaugh was on the precipice of getting fired prior to COVID. I remember Joe Klatt said that Michigan is a developmental program, so we're not going to graduate a good group and then reload like Georgia will. So that I think there's one thing there. And then, Sharon, when he won last year, he had the whole thing stacked. So it's one thing to come on and take over temporarily when the whole thing is stacked, and then you have to go and rebuild it and develop it yourself. And I think that's something else we're seeing now, is that he had to go reload some of the coaches, and they have to grow up another offensive line group. I don't know if he'll survive the entire process.
Yeah,
with the way this is going, but I think that's part of what's happened as well.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a nice veteran group like he had against Penn State and against you guys last year.
Right.
That was easy. Well, quote unquote easy.
And
Urban
Mark,
Meyer to Michigan confirmed. You heard it here first.
Stop. Just stop.
Before I want to wrap this one up, but I don't think Justin got a chance to.
oh yeah.
Give his 2 cents. There.
Oh, you're good. I'll let y'all
That's
take
okay.
this one. This is the Michigan-Ohio State battle. I'll let.
I thought you were giving some hellfire and brimstone. I wanted to hear it.
No. I look. Mac saved himself there for a second. Mac
saved himself. Mac was never in trouble. Mac had a point the whole time.
I think
I'm saving it for when we need it. When I need to bring it out, it'll come.
All right, whatever.
I kind of view Sharon as almost kind of like an interim hire. Like, we're gonna keep Moore, we're gonna keep the culture, we're gonna keep the Harbaugh-ness ingrained in the program, and none of that is really coming to fruition. And just like Luke Fickell, he got a year to prove himself in a tough spot, kind of a late hire, a murky situation.
Crapped himself.
What's that?
All right.
I just think I feel like with Sharon Moore, like I feel like coming into the season, like we expected them to kind of take a step back, a big drop back, right? And you got to think like a lot of their issues are, they're a QB away from not being near as bad as they are. And again, the defense is super talented, but the scheme and whatever they're doing on the defensive side of the ball just isn't working. So I don't think they're too far off. Like I think a lot of these questions raise up because, of course, it sucks being, 15-0, whatever, winning a natty, and then coming back and being 4-3 and trying to find out questions why you can't formulate any kind of offense. But I think that I think Sharon Moore, you almost have to treat him as if, it's kind of a couple-year rebuild in a way, just because he needs to restock that deck, like he was saying. And it was never going to be. This was never going to be a championship year for Michigan. Regardless, we expected the drop off. We got it. I just don't think we expected the quarterback room to be as bad as it was. We didn't expect the defense to be this bad schematically, or just how they've been playing. So I think it's a little bit more difficult as a fan having the emotion in it to sit here and just try to pull your hair out and figure out the answers. But I think you're closer than you even realize to an extent.
I suppose there is a little bit of, I don't know what the word is for it, but like obviously you achieve the national championship. So then at that point, anything less than that is all of a sudden like the worst thing you've ever seen.
I say it like expectations of this, right? Indiana coming into the season. Indiana coming to the season. You look at a team like Indiana, right? Indiana's going to come out, and if they go 7, well, they're 7-0, but I'm saying they go 7-0, right? And let's say when they were 6-0, and like their biggest wins were against Maryland and Northwestern, and two teams that have a losing record. Well, everybody is then gassing Indiana up. Whereas if Ohio State, due to their expectations, came out and had that same schedule and the same record with the same results, we'd all be trashing Ohio State left and right.
They haven't played anybody.
It's expectations, that matters. That matters to an extent of how we view these teams.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually similar to what's going on at Michigan State now. So Michigan State and Michigan are both 4-3, except that Michigan State is on the way up, Michigan is on the way down.
Sam Hartman's looking downfield for AJ.
Carter almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.